Now, the flip side, first up, Territory taxpayers' debt is climbing to $12.5 billion, with per-person debt hitting $61,800, which is as bad as it's been. Next up, families dealing with cost of living. There's no new relief measures in the budget, nothing extra to ease household pressure. Also taking a hit, mental health and social services. Funding is being cut across mental health, domestic violence services and other social services.
Connor Cartwright giving you a bit of a wrap there on the winners and losers from the CLP government's budget, which they handed down yesterday. The Treasurer, Bill Yan, will be with Lara Stimson on ABC Darwin Mornings very soon. And as you heard just then, a focus on law and order and health. That's led the charge, really. But what about reliable and affordable housing? Because you could argue that they're part of that story in terms of prevention. I had a chat to Annie Taylor from NT Shelter on this a little bit earlier.
Yeah, not particularly well. We do welcome the funding that has been committed to housing, which is around $22.8 million to help community housing providers apply for the Housing Australia Future Fund. So that is definitely welcome. But the reality is that there is so much housing need in the Northern Territory, and this demand is just simply continuing to grow. And these housing pressures are flowing into other systems. Some of the systems that you've mentioned, like the justice system, policing systems, and the health system. So we need to get housing right to prevent those downstream costs to other government systems, and we're just not getting housing right here in the Territory.
That funding as well of $22.8 million, some of that is federal funding, is that correct?
Look, it will be applied for by community housing providers to get funding from the federal government through the Housing Australia Future Fund. So it's a mix, but my understanding is that funding is coming from the Northern Territory government to support community housing providers to apply for federal funding.
As you mentioned, the housing situation here in the Northern Territory is pretty dire. Demand does outweigh supply. The Territory has a homelessness rate that's around 12 times the national average. Off the back of this budget announcement yesterday, you called for a real increase in investment for social housing, not incremental change. So what's the dollar value of that? Like, what would you really like to see that would make a difference?
Yeah, look, it's tricky because we don't actually know exactly what the need here is in the Northern Territory. We know, like you've said, that we have 12 times the national average when it comes to homelessness. We know that we've got, huge numbers of people who are on our public housing wait list, but we also have a census undercount when it comes to actually properly counting homelessness in the Northern Territory. So it's really hard to gauge how much housing we actually need. We've done some independent modelling, and we know that we need around about 19,000 social and affordable housings built here in the Northern Territory. So that's our own modelling. We've got some independent modelling from some analysts down in Melbourne. So we'd really be interested to see what comes up in the Northern Territory housing strategy, which is under development at the moment, and see what the Northern Territory government thinks that we need when it comes to building social and affordable housing, because we want to make sure that all of those people on the social housing wait list actually have somewhere to call home and don't have to wait for 10 plus years to get a house that is their own.
You are hearing from Annie Taylor this morning. She is from NT Shelter, just responding to the budget that was handed down yesterday by the CLP government. A number of